Gloomwood, a seemingly ordinary town nestled in the heart of the countryside. Its dusty streets are lined with dilapidated buildings, and an eerie sense of foreboding lingers in the air. The townsfolk live in constant fear of the mysterious old woman who resides in the abandoned mansion at the edge of town. Known as the Witch, she is said to control the weather with her crooked old fingers. It's a cold, crisp morning as Lily, a young girl with bright green eyes and a mischievous smile, steps out of her small, one-room shack. The sky is a piercing shade of blue, and the air smells of wood smoke and freshly baked bread. Today, she has no interest in attending school or helping her parents with chores. Instead, she feels drawn to the old mansion at the end of town. Against her better judgment, she decides to follow her curiosity and explore the forbidden grounds. As she ventures deeper into the overgrown garden, Lily can't help but feel a shiver run down her spine. The once beautiful flowers have all wilted and died, leaving the garden in disarray. She hears a rustling in the bushes nearby and freezes in her tracks, expecting to see one of the town's elderly gossips. Instead, she comes face to face with the witch herself. The old woman's long, gray hair whips around her face like tendrils of smoke, and her skin is as wrinkled as old parchment. Her eyes are a piercing shade of blue that seem to look straight through Lily. The witch stumbles to her feet, in pain. It's clear that she's been injured. Lily hesitates for a moment, unsure of what to do. The townspeople have always told her to stay away from the witch, that she's dangerous and must be avoided at all costs. But something inside her won't let her leave the old woman to suffer. Against her better judgment, she decides to help. Carefully, she approaches the witch and asks if she's okay. The old woman's eyes narrow, and for a moment, Lily thinks she's about to be cursed. But instead, the witch mutters something unintelligible and collapses onto the ground, unconscious. Lily panics, not knowing what to do. She tries to lift the witch up, but the old woman is surprisingly heavy. As she struggles, she notices a small, wooden box tucked into the witch's cloak. The box is intricately carved with symbols that Lily has never seen before. Desperate, she removes the box and searches through the witch's belongings for something that might help. In a pocket, she finds a handful of dried herbs and a few vials of strange, colored liquids. With shaking hands, she prepares a makeshift poultice and applies it to the witch's wound. As she works, she can't help but wonder how the witch came to be injured in the first place. Time passes, and eventually, the witch begins to stir. Her eyes flutter open, and she looks up at Lily with a mix of confusion and gratitude. The old woman struggles to sit up, her movements slow and labored. She reaches out a gnarled hand and gently pats Lily on the head as if she were a beloved pet. "Thank you, child," she whispers. "You have done well." Lily blushes beneath her freckles. She's never been thanked by an adult before, let alone someone as important and mysterious as the witch. As they sit together in the overgrown garden, Lily feels a strange bond forming between them. The witch tells her that she was attacked by a group of townspeople who were afraid of her powers, and that she has been alone for far too long. Lily promises to keep her secret safe and to visit her whenever she can. As the sun begins to set, casting a warm golden light across the garden, Lily stands up and says her goodbyes. The witch watches her leave with a wistful expression, wondering if this kind act will be the beginning of a new life for them both. The days that follow are filled with excitement and anticipation. Lily spends every spare moment in the company of the witch, learning from her, growing closer to her. She starts to bring the witch small gifts from the market, simple things like fresh bread and apples, and the old woman's face lights up with every delivery. One day Lily found a dusty, dimly lit study room at Witch's Place. Books lined the walls, their leather bindings cracked and worn from years of disuse. A large, ancient desk was positioned in the center of the room, covered in stacks of parchment and quills. On the desk, Lily spotted a leather-bound diary. Her heart leapt as she realized that this must belong to the witch. She carefully picked up the diary. The witch had been keeping a record of her life, and as Lily began to read, she learned that the witch was not the cruel, heartless creature that everyone believed her to be. The sun beat down relentlessly upon the parched earth, the dust rising in great billowing clouds as the wind whistled through the dry, brittle stalks of corn. The people of Windsor trudged wearily through their daily routines, their minds fixed on the bleak future that lay ahead. Crops were withering, livestock were struggling to find sustenance, and the river that once flowed through their town was reduced to a trickle. The mood in the town was somber, and fear hung heavy in the air. But in the crumbling mansion at the outskirts of town, something miraculous was happening. The witch, once feared and reviled for her supposed power to control the weather, was using her magic for the greater good. She stood before her cauldron muttering ancient incantations under her breath, her gnarled fingers dancing across the surface of the brew. Meanwhile, Lily stood thinking of the stories they had shared and the lessons they had learned. She felt a stirring in her heart, a sense of hope and anticipation that she hadn't felt in a long time. She knew that the witch was up to something, and she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation. As the sun began to set, the witch stepped outside, the last rays of light casting an ethereal glow across the landscape. She raised her arms towards the sky, and a great wind picked up, swirling around her in a dance of power and majesty. The clouds above began to darken, and then, with a roar that seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth, the rain came pouring down. The people of Windsor emerged from their homes, their faces streaked with dirt and tears, and they gazed up at the sky in awe and wonder. They had never seen anything like it. Some thought it was a miracle, while others were convinced that the end was nigh. But as the rain continued to fall, washing away the dust and revitalizing the parched earth, they began to see that perhaps the witch wasn't so dangerous after all. Lily watched from the window of the mansion, her heart swelling with pride and love for the witch. As the rain continued to fall, washing away the years of pain and suffering, Lily knew that a new beginning was unfolding before them. A future where the witch could live in peace and the people of Windsor could live together in harmony. And in the end, that was all that really mattered.